Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of Future Focus. My name is Justin Rupert. I'm the Learning Coordinator for Goodwill Industries of Kansas. Today's lesson is going to be on Google Sheets and financial literacy. So we're going to jump into a Google Sheet and we're going to track our monthly expenses. I feel like this is a lesson that will be very practical and useful to a lot of people because obviously we could all stand to be a little more financially fit. This is a lesson, as I jump into a little screen share, that is adapted from Google's Applied Digital Skills website. The lesson is tracking your monthly expenses. I took this on about a year and a half ago, and I've kind of adapted it and adjusted it as I needed to what it is today, and I'm real happy with it because it helps me keep an eye on things. One of my worst, I don't know if you call it a habit, but is spending money eating out. I was really pretty bad about that in a past life. And so when I started tracking things and really scrutinizing where my spending was going, I realized I am throwing a lot of money at that. So it's gotten me to a point where I'm much more financially fit, and I do credit this lesson here. So I was in my Google Drive here, and I'm going to open up this sheet. Google Sheets is the equivalent of a Microsoft Excel. It's a spreadsheet where we organize, analyze, store data in the form of a spreadsheet. And we'll make this sheet available in the comments so you can grab a copy and work with it and build it and make it your own. So my workbook here is divided into a number of different sheets here. I've got one for May, April, March, so on and so on. And I would just, copy this May and create June. And it might be easiest to do right now while there's no data in it. So I can duplicate it. And it's made a copy of May 20. I'll just slide it over here and I'll rename it June 20. Oops. So month to month, I'm going to plug in the data and the numbers. So what am I tracking? When we're talking about tracking our monthly expenses, we got to keep in mind a couple of things, right? What's coming in and what's going out. So up here at the top in column D, I have my income. And let's say it's the first of the month, and I just got that shiny paycheck. And these are arbitrary numbers, folks. Do not mistake me for a wealthy person by any means. So so that first pay period, or that first paycheck, I'm gonna plug it in right there. Right off the bat, I'm gonna pay myself first 10% of my paycheck. In this case, let's say $110. Now I start up at the top. What's my most expensive items each month? Generally, it's gonna be your rent or your mortgage, or maybe it's a car payment. But I like to get those heavy ones first, right? So let's say my mortgage is $550. Now you see that it automatically turned red because there's some formatting that I've put into my spreadsheet so that when it gets over a certain amount, it colors it red for danger. You're spending a lot of money on that. Maybe you have student loans to pay. And you can see as I start to add items into or costs into my sheet, it starts to accumulate in the expenses. Very simple formulas here. What are my expenses? My expenses here equals B18, which is this cell right here. And this cell is adding up, simple formula, B2 through B16, getting the sum of these costs. And then over here in my totals, it's a real simple formula. What's in F2 minus what's in F3. So real simple formulas. We're not gonna get into real crazy stuff here. Just gonna keep it real simple. So there are a number of variables in my monthly expenses, right? I may spend more on groceries this month or less on utilities. But there are also some standards or some pretty constant expenses. One might be my phone bill. It's hopefully not going up anytime soon. This month I can afford to pay a little bit more on my credit card. But I got to get gasoline too. Got a pretty efficient fuel efficient vehicle, so I'm doing all right there. What else? Some of these other items I'm not going to pay until that next pay period. So going down the line here a little bit more, I have some categories, some items for subscriptions, for adult beverages, hobbies, personal, dining out. Those will all, I'll plug them in here, and then they will sum up here at the top. So let's say I go to a Johnson's Garden Center, gonna get my garden started. I'm gonna spend a little bit of money there. You can see that under the personal category, I've got a $25 item. Do like to eat out, and that's not going to change, but I can certainly try and reel it in a little bit. I've gone to Ziggy's, grocery stores, Dillon's. You know, if I'm lucky, get out of there under $85. Maybe you have subscriptions that you like to pay for. Well, you probably don't like to pay for them, right? But you like the content. Maybe you support some creators on Patreon. I know I do. And then you have some vices, right? Not opposed to a glass of wine every now and again. And only the finest $12 bottle of wine I can find. But you can see that I'm in the hole, quote unquote. So maybe on the first of the month, I save only half for my mortgage. So that puts me in a safer spot, and I can maybe dedicate a little bit more of that to savings. So I'm dealing with about $180 right now. Maybe I'll throw another 100 into my savings. So let's call it 210. And that savings is really just going to end up paying my mortgage. So you can see how the numbers start to add up when you start to add items. Maybe you like to go to bookstores and spend a little bit of money there, right? Or maybe you eat out a lot, or maybe you go to Dillon's and Aldi and Trader Joe's and all that business, you know? So we start to plug in data, and we see that adding up. Next pay period, I'm gonna get a little bump in salary maybe. I've got that in there. Now I can plug in the total mortgage. I can pay my insurance because I know it's gonna come out at the 19th of each month. I'm gonna pay for the internet, which is not getting any cheaper. And I've got categories over here too, which I kind of neglected to mention, but whatever the item is, you can assign it a certain category. So you could kind of see where that money breaks down. Did I spend more money on car, gasoline and insurance, vehicle insurance, housing? That's going to include utilities. So what about utilities here? Well, I've got a spreadsheet over here that tracks my utilities from month to month, because we know they can fluctuate, right? In the colder months, you may spend more on gas, and cooler months, or the warm months, you're going to spend more on electricity for air conditioning. So this helps me keep track and kind of see what I'm averaging for the month and over the course of a year. Again, just real simple formulas in here. On average, I'm spending about $48 or about $49 on average in electricity each month. Gas, and then water. And then my total monthly average, again, just an average number of what I'm spending. I can plug that. I can go back over to my May document and say, okay, well, I'm going to roughly have to spend $134 a month on utilities, but I do have technical data here. I do have specifics. So 129.93, was that what it was? And that's going to allow me to save a little bit more money. Maybe you have a third source of income each month. Maybe you have a part-time gig where you make a little bit of money in tips in the service industry. So this is kind of how it breaks down. You might have hobbies. You know, I like to collect records. I like to collect robots, that sort of stuff. So maybe I'm going to go spend some money at Spectrum and hit up Toy Dojo. I got to, you know, I spend a little bit of money. You got to live, right? So you can just start to plug in information and start to see where it's going. Now let's jump over to the cost sheet and take a look at that as soon as I plug in a little data for my vice. Going and having a couple of brew dogs with the boys. So let's look at this cost sheet. real quick. You can see how it's summing up data from the May worksheet or the April worksheet. I can see how much I'm spending on fuel. I can see how much I'm spending on dining out. I can see how much I'm spending on groceries and vices. So these are just, again, you can make it whatever fits your lifestyle. But this is a very effective way to keep track of your monthly expenses. Again, I'm going to make this available so you can grab a copy and start plugging in your information however you want to do it. So dining out, again, very simple formula. You could go all the way down to 99. But if you're eating out 99 times a month, you are doing something way wrong. So yeah, get in here and poke around a little bit and start to explore the sheets. You're not going to break anything. And honestly, I start to feel a little sharper every time I learn something new in Excel. It's one of those programs that has kind of a steep learning curve, but once you get to a certain point, you just kind of feel like, okay, I got this. I can handle this. So there's a little lesson on financial literacy, a little lesson on sheets. Again, if there's a topic you want to hear covered in a future episode, just send us a comment. Share this video with somebody who may benefit from it. It really helped me quite a bit track my monthly expenses, and I feel like I'm doing a lot better in 2020 than I have in the past. So I appreciate you all watching. Looking forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, take care, and we'll see you.